name's Christina and you're watching Proud Book Lion. And today I'm doing my wrap-up part 5 out of 2018. So since last we spoke, I've read 5 books. And if you didn't know, I am vegan. So that explains my shirt. But yeah, let's get into the books that I've read. So first up, I read a book from my library because I'm doing really well with that challenge. So I read A Quiet Kind of Thunder by Sarah Bernard. And this was a really cool book. It's about Steffi and she is a selective mute. She describes herself as that. So she has selective mutism, if that's the correct term. And she's basically paired with this boy named Rice because he's deaf and can't hear, and Steffi is the only one at the school that knows some British Sign Language. So they are basically paired off, and then they actually create some kind of friendship, and it's really cool. We do get to follow Steffi, so it's from her point of view, and we get to follow kind of like how Steffi's relationship with Rice evolves and like growing independence and showing and proving to her parents and the world that she's able to actually study at the university. And for Rice it's probably the same, and for Tem, it kind of also is the same because Tem is Steffi's best friend, and we do get to see how she speaks more with some people, less with some people, and just how she grows. And I love coming of age stories, so it really fitted me well. I typically do not like romance, but I thought this romance was manageable. I really loved how Rice and Steffi interact with each other, and they use this website where they write to each other, and it's just really sweet, and I did really like it, and I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I reread Clockwork Angel. I can't say Angel. Then I reread Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Infernal Devices. I really like it. I remember liking it before. I liked it this time around as well. I do prefer the first novel in the TDA, but this is still a really well-written novel. I love Will. I have a soft spot for Will. If you love Jem, you can take him. If you love Will, we can share, perhaps, because I'm not that fanatic, so I will call him mine, but I really like Will. And Tessa is a very bright individual, and it's a pleasure to read from her point of view. So yeah, I really liked it, and I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars again, like I did last time. Or did I give it 5? I'm not sure, but I gave it a high star rating. And if you have not yet read Cassandra Clare books, I don't understand how you can live within the book fandom, because it is huge and most people have read Cassandra Clare, but it's never too late, and I do really love this series. And especially if you have a hard time getting into the Mortal Instruments, it can be better to start with the Infernal Devices because it is more well written and eloquent, and at least that's how I interpret it. So perhaps if you're struggling with City of Bones, this would be a great start to actually get into Cassandra Clare's novels, because her latest ones are perfection. Then I read another library book by Melinda Lowe, and it's called A Line in the Dark, and I was so happily surprised by this. It is LGBTQ as it says here, and we do get to follow Jess, and she's an amazing, I believe, lesbian girl, and she has her best friend Angie, and she is so hot for Angie. And Angie is also lesbian, and Jess, important to note, is of Asian descent. I believe... I've forgotten the country right now. It might have been Chinese? No, I don't know right now. But she's Asian, just like the author herself, Melinda Lowe, and it's about queer girls. I love queer girls. You can use you don't have to say anything more for me to read a book. You can say it's about queer girls, and then I read the book. It's not that hard to hook me. But Jess is lesbian, I believe, and she draws comics, and they're truly amazing. And she's gotten into this exchange program at this really fancy snobby school, and their Angie somehow ends up with one of the girls that actually attend that school, and Jess is jealous because she's in love with Angie, and things just go out of hand, and it's just so thrilling, and I loved it, and it was really cool, really dark, and I just love to read about a lesbian Asian girl by a author that's also Asian, and I believe that she is also queer. I do not know which identity, and I sadly do not know which country right now. I am so sorry, but just it's amazing, and I love this off, and just please read it if you're like even the slightest interested. I love it. It's just so great. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because I personally didn't fall in love with the writing, and I personally, as always, struggle a lot with romance because, I don't know, perhaps it's something with my sexuality. I usually don't find actual romance to be that intriguing to read about. I'm sorry. But the other aspects I truly loved, so I highly recommend it. After that, I read my first John Green book. Aren't you proud of me? No, but I read Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. Am I allowed to say that I was underwhelmed by John Green's writing? Like, I've heard so many amazing things, and I just didn't like feel any of those. I do understand that this book is very triggering for people that struggle with OCD, and especially then OCD related to illnesses and like hospitals and so on. So please be aware of that before you like head into the novel. I did find like the Tuatura to be very intriguing, and what I truly loved about this book, the like only aspect that I truly loved, was the ending. So if you've read it and read the ending, then we can discuss. It was okay. I didn't really feel anything more, although I did like to see John Green writing about OCD, and it did feel very true, raw, and like realistic. And I did like the character like Azia, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but she was dimensional, not two-dimensional, but she was like a full 3D character. I just didn't really connect with the story, I suppose, so that's why I only give it 4 out of 5 stars, like 3.5 more off, but like 4 on Goodreads, so I'm saying 4. If you're interested, I would recommend it, but it's nothing that I feel like, wow, I can't believe I haven't read a John Green book before. It's more like, cool, that's basically it. And up next, I read a non-fiction book. It's kind of like an information / self-help book, but I read it in Swedish because I borrowed it from my library, just like I did with the John Green book. So like, of the 5 that I read, I borrowed 4 out of my library. So I mean, I'm doing really well with that, to like applaud myself. I read För att överleva, om självskadebeteende, and it's by Sofia Åkerman, and the title basically means to survive or in order to survive, and it's about self-destructive behavior, and its main focus is cutting, but she usually uses both alcoholism, drug abuse or like drug misuse, and eating disorders such as bulimia nervosa, overeating like binge eating disorder, and anorexia nervosa, especially anorexia nervosa. And I do believe that's because Sofia Åkerman, the author herself, has struggled with both cutting and disordered eating. I believe anorexia nervosa to be specific. But yeah, there's different chapters basically from everything to the signs and symptoms, how to like deal with life after you stopped your self-destructive behavior. Do you ever like leave it? Is there something like to be healthy or sick? Like, is it actually an illness? How to cope? How to tell your parents and friends how they can help? It's just really like wholesome, and it's really great because she has like answers from individuals that she's friends with, both male and female, which I think is super duper important because, as she describes in the book, cutting is usually seen as a girl problem, just like eating disorders are, and it truly is not. So I did really like that, and they're different ages. So there's like a girl named Siri, I have no idea what the girl's actual name is, or if it even is a girl. From the name, I'm assuming it's a girl, and she's only 15. And then we have Rob, and from what I've understood, he is a male, and he is 43 years old. So like in the different answers to like the chapter's headings, they explain what they think. So that's really interesting, and I do really love that aspect because it's so important to like understand what others are going through, what you're going through, and to get other perspectives, especially as it's something very individual. And it just has so many great quotes, like about how actions you can do to be like self-preservative, but they can also be the same actions used when you want to end your life. So, for example, some people might swallow a whole lot of pills in order to end their lives, but another person will do it in order to be able to cope with life and to survive. And it also talks about how in school we get to learn about this is anorexia, this is drugs, do not do these things, but we never learn healthy coping strategies, dealing with everyday problems, with dealing with life. We don't know how to do when we are sad or when we feel down. They try to scare us from doing these things that show us, and they always show the unhealthy alternative, but they never show us healthy like coping strategies and such. So it had a lot of quotes that I truly love and I truly will carry with me for a long time, and I truly loved it. I gave it 5 stars, and this is a book that I'm going to recommend my psychologist to read, just because he doesn't seem too aware about these issues, and especially not to play the number game that she describes. Like when you speak about cutting or you speak about eating disorders, you do not mention specific ways, nor do you mention specific numbers. Like I weighed kilos when I was at my lowest, or I usually cut at least times every day. That only for the people that are in like the zone where they are almost on the verge on starting a behavior, or perhaps they're already engaging in some kind of behavior. That will be something that they set up as a goal. Even if it's unhealthy, their brain will automatically, like, that is a number, and I can reach that number if I only do It's never good to be that specific, especially when you speak to an audience that either are in a bad mindset or that you don't know anything about. For example, young people, a school class, or like an audience overall. Like, you can be that specific when you speak to professionals, but that's basically the only time it's allowed. I, of course, gave it 5 stars, and it's just so truly great. I think I might have to actually buy this. Those were the 5 books that I read. If you read any of these books or another great book, I would love to hear. Thank you so much for watching. Your support means the world to me, and I do truly hope you have a great day /night /whatever part is for you. Bye!